Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're going to start from my right, your left, and just keep going down. Is that all right? Okay. You're easy. Fine. Remember, introduce yourself and speak for 3 minutes as close to the microphone as you can get. Some of them work better than others. Thank you.
I thought it was last, but I guess I'm not. Ed Yeager, Amalgamated Houses, the oldest limited equity co-op in the country. We're 95 years old, and I don't know if we're going to reach 100. And if we don't, the cause of death is going to be supervision by the state of New York, Housing and Community Renewal. When the commissioner spoke, she said, oh, they're private enterprises, they're private businesses, but we don't control our own money. We can't increase carrying charges unless we go to the state and the commissioner gives us an increase. We can't take money for capital repairs, a new mortgage, unless the commissioner allows us to. And in the past years, that's been the problem. Our last 3 increases have been late, insufficient. They don't make up for the gap when we have a budget year ending January 1st, but they don't get to an increase until June 1st. Well, whatever shortfall you had in those months doesn't exist. We're starting a new budget from here. So you get an increase to cover the next 2 years, but nothing to cover the shortfall. So we're now $1.5 million behind in payments to vendors. We have nothing in our capital reserve, nothing in our operating reserve, because the state wouldn't grant us an increase. We know the pain of increases, we pay it. And we know our people move in based on income limits. But as a co-op, we got nowhere else to get money from. A few years ago, we knew we needed capital work. We went to architects, we went to engineers, we said, what do we need to do? Here's your list. We had more work than we could afford to make the debt service payment on, so we wanted to borrow part of it from Freddie Mac, come back a few years later. No, you can't borrow now. You have to do it in our form of IPNA, Integrated Physical Needs. Same information, but it cost us $250,000 to redo and 2 years. And you know what's happened to increase interest rates in the last 2 years? It's going to cost our cooperators in affordable housing $2 million a year for 30 years because, nope, we didn't do it in their format. Our crisis now is gas. We're going to get shut down. We started telling them about Local Law 152 in New York 5 years ago. We got silence. Our buildings are older than the Mitchell-Lama program. So out of 1,500 families, we're going to have 800 shut down. They caused the problem. They have to find us the money to fix it. We don't have money to do anything.
Thank you. Thank you. Next. We're going to start with Jeff Dinowitz, Assembly.
Thank you. The question is for Mr. Yeager. I just want to make sure I heard you right before. Did you say that because of HCR's dilly-dallying and dawdling, that it's going to cost the Amalgamated $2 million more a year for the loans? For
Probably more than that, because in addition to interest rates going up, our property deteriorates further, and inflation drives up the cost of repairs.
So that's over a 30-year loan. That's at least $60 million.
That's my guess.
And
Yeah.
in addition, the carrying charge increases would be more than it might otherwise have been had they done things in a timely fashion?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I haven't done the math, but $2 million a year is probably more than $30 per room per month.
Now, the people who live in the Amalgamated, and I mean, obviously I'm very familiar with it, but these are mostly working people, elderly people, not wealthy people.
Right. And that's the difficulty we face in affordable housing is You have income limits to get in. So then when we have to raise your carrying charges, it's going to be painful. But we have nowhere else to get money. Tell the insurance companies that we're affordable housing, don't raise our rates. Tell DOB with their local R11 requirements, where architects submit buildings as safe and they say, no, we found something we don't like, keep the scaffolding up for $8,000 a month. DOB is killing us with local R11. And those of you who have constituencies, talk to them about FISP.
Well, I live in a
Yeah.
co-op building, and
Yeah.
our scaffolding has been up, I think, for
Yeah.
a year now, and Local 11 is
Yeah.
causing
It's killing the
problems.
city.
No question. So would you say it's fair to say that while there's no, as far as I know, no legal obligation on the part of HCR to cough up some money due to the delays that they cause, would there certainly be at least a moral obligation for them to try to be helpful, considering everything?
Obviously. They're supposedly in business to keep us affordable, but they're driving us out of affordability by increasing our costs.
So if for some reason the people in the Amalgamated, I don't know, voted to leave the program, 1,500 units would be gone from affordability.
Yes.
Well, that would be
And
pretty much of a disaster for
We've had
affordable
times we
housing.
could have, during the whole wave of conversions, we said, no, we want to stay affordable housing. I'm more concerned with going bankrupt than I am with voting to leave the program.
Right.
We may not be able to get insurance. What do you do if you have a housing co-op and you can't insure your property?
Thank
I don't
you.
know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Brian Kavanaugh.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Yeager. I know we had an opportunity. I think my colleague who represents you may also have some comments. And I do want to thank Senator Liu in particular for his attention to all the issues we've been discussing today. But I extend my gratitude sincerely. I want to just follow up on.
Jackson again.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for coming in. I'm going to give reference to two things. One, you may have heard the questions that I've asked along with our Senate Chair regarding the enforcement units in HCR. And so I want to know what the impact is going to be on the people that we represent. I put that in the frame of, I've heard on the news that there are 60,000 units, apartment units that are vacant and being held by the landlords that own them because of whatever reason. So if you have any insight on that, I would appreciate that. But my first one is to Ed. Ed, as you know, I've met with you and the board of Amalgamated Housing along with our housing chair, Brian Kavanaugh, and we got some movement on the two issues that was immediately facing you. And as I said to all of you, I will work with you and HCR to be able to try to move things as quickly as possible and not delay where it costs you $500,000 or $1 million because it took so long. So I ask you to just please continue to communicate with us like you're doing, and so that we can communicate effectively, hopefully with HCR to move the things that need to be moved. And I appreciate the advocacy that you have on behalf of all of the people of Amalgamated, because quite frankly, when I was there politicizing, meaning collecting signatures and knocking on doors for re-election processes, I heard it from the people that were living there, how much they cannot afford the increases that are going up. So please keep up the work and put pressure on us, along with Jeff Denowitz, who is the assembly member that represents the area, but I appreciate that. And for everybody else, if you could just give me a comment on the thing that I asked, and I'm sorry, I only have 1 minute and 6 seconds left.
I can speak quickly to the vacant apartments in the affordable housing portfolios, which we never used to see, but now with all this missing rent, landlords of affordable housing projects, which again, public-private, overseen by HCR, because they're missing so much rent, they're not only not performing regular maintenance, they're not able, and when somebody moves out, they can't bring the project back, the unit back online because they just don't have the resources. So we're seeing it in the affordable housing portfolios since the pandemic. Arrears have probably gone up at least 5-fold in most of the cities city affordable housing projects that our members maintain.
If I could comment on the vacancy issue also, we have that problem. We can't get staffing to turn over the apartment because the 90-year-old apartment, you can't just give to the next person the way the last person left it. The other thing is HCR's process means you got to call someone, wait 2 weeks for them to decide. If they say no, wait another 2 weeks for the next person. We could lose months going through the list till someone accepts it.
Thank you.